when they arrived, that patient, if it was Michael Jackson, was not breathing, and the medical team on the paramedic team on that fire department paramedic truck had to perform CPR. We await confirmation. We await more detail from UCLA. It's clear to see there is already interest growing around that facility, but as I say, they will have to tread very carefully with privacy laws. No doubt those close to Michael Jackson, those who represent him, will be being besieged by media calls. Those fans, of course, will also want to know exactly what's going on. But things move very quickly in the media circles in Los Angeles when it comes to a star of the magnitude of Michael Jackson. As I say, particularly at the moment, there'll be huge interest, but they'll also have a responsibility to his family, those who are making their way to Los Angeles, those who are following this from a distance, to make sure that they do everything that's correct under the law while making sure that people remain informed.
Yeah, Greg, as I was saying a few moments ago, it was the TMZ Entertainment website in the States which has broken this story and seems to have the latest information. Just tell us about this website, because although it's very popular over in the States, many people over here won't know very much about it. How reliable is it as a source?
Well, it's proved itself to be reliable to the point where there is now on mainstream primetime TV, there's a TMZ.com TV show where effectively you see behind the scenes of how they go about their business, how they gather those stories that they gather every day, and we've seen over the years, and they would say that they've been proved to be right on many of those big stories and proved to be ahead of much of the other media. And of course, the media is heavily focused on showbiz stories in that part of the world. They have tended to get things right. Of course, that's not to say that in this case they're completely right. It is clear from the confirmations that we have that Michael Jackson has been taken to hospital, but whether the story of a cardiac arrest is true, we'll have to wait to see when we do hear from the hospital or we do hear from those close to Michael Jackson. But certainly they have been right in the past, and they, more than anyone, will have been following the Michael Jackson story over the last few months as he and the rest of the world heads towards this comeback that has been so widely talked about. He is massively in debt, we should remember. Having to sell Neverland was just a part of what he had to do to try to cope with debts which are said to be around $400 million. Those who now manage him, and it is a new management team, say this is a man who they believe could make $500 billion a year if he put his mind to it. But there's been infighting, there's been all sorts of legal battles that have gone on over the course of the last few years, and that's something which they are very well aware of, and they believe that they have a responsibility to now deal with. Now we're just hearing more from TMZ that that could be much more serious. Again, they are unconfirmed reports that Michael Jackson is in a far more serious condition. That this could indeed.
Greg, I'm just going to interrupt you there, because the TMZ website are reporting that Michael Jackson has passed away. We have no independent confirmation of that, but the TMZ website, who broke this story earlier this evening, are reporting that Michael Jackson has passed away. No confirmation from the hospital or anyone in his family. That is the breaking line coming out of the TMZ website tonight, saying Michael Jackson has this evening died. They reported just under an hour ago that he was rushed from his home to hospital, and he'd suffered cardiac arrest and had to be resuscitated by paramedics on the way to hospital. We were told that his family members were rushing to hospital. They are now reporting that he has passed away, but we have no independent confirmation of that. But Greg, as you were saying, TMZ website has in the past proved to be a reliable source.
It has. Of course, we have to be careful with something of the magnitude of this, but one would imagine that if that is true, then confirmation would come reasonably quickly from other sources as well, not only the medical sources, but also those close to Michael Jackson, because this obviously is a story of huge magnitude to not only the showbiz world and the pop world, but to entertainment in general, to the US in general. He is a huge star, even though he's not been seen so much in recent years. He hasn't toured for more than 10 years, hasn't released an album since 2001, but a hugely significant figure, a hugely divisive figure, of course. The trial back in 2005 on child molestation charges is something which many people will remember Michael Jackson for, perhaps more than the hugely significant music that he made back in the 1980s and the 1990s. It was something which, no doubt, to many people is more significant. Some of the more bizarre aspects of his life, his relationship with young people that he was happy to talk about, of course, in television documentaries that people saw in the UK. his relationship to some young people that prompted investigations and prompted that trial. And of course, we should remember he was cleared of those allegations, and those were things which enabled him to begin the task of rebuilding his career. It had taken time, but all the talk was that his tour to the UK and his dates in London this summer were going to be the beginning of that comeback for a man who's 50 years old, deeply in debt. Remember, he has children as well, those 3 children who'd never seen him perform, and that was one of the reasons we were told that he wanted to make that comeback, because his children, Prince Michael, Michael Joseph Jackson Jr., and his daughter Paris Michael Catherine had never seen him perform, and that was something that appealed to him to get back on stage and to allow his children to see him perform. That's not going to happen. The reaction to this will come, of course, around the world, and those millions of fans who, despite Michael Jackson's problems, despite the controversy about him, despite the bizarre nature of his life and what's happened to him over the last 20, 25 years, have stayed incredibly loyal and turn up at every opportunity just for the glimpse of him. He was always very thankful to those fans and made a point of recognizing what they've done to keep him where he is, despite the fact that he hasn't been particularly productive musically.
Greg, just to interrupt you there, the Reuters news agency are now reporting that Michael Jackson has indeed died. They're saying that, obviously repeating what we've already said, that he's passed away this evening. The 50-year-old pop star Michael Jackson has passed away. This is according to the Reuters news agency and, of course, the TMZ website. This indeed will be shocking news for millions of his fans throughout the world.